And we are done with the WWE draft. It's always a source of some excitement. I mean, we have Seth Rollins and Finn Balor going to Monday Night Raw. We have Charlotte Flair and Drew McIntyre going to SmackDown, which will give us fresh matches. And that's what I need in my life. I just need a bunch to do. As ever, though, there is one issue within WWE that continually just smacks you in the head over and over again, and it's been going on for the last 30 years. And if you can believe it, because of this damn draft, WWE just made the same mistake again. Where's my toys? I throw them out of the pram. Why? Here's why. It shouldn't take a genius to figure this out. I mean, look at me. Nothing smart is going to come out of my mouth, but I do want to turn my attentions on this day, depending on the day you're watching it, to the flippin' tag team division. The long rumor has always been that Vince McMahon doesn't really care about said tag team division, and you know, it's his company and he can do whatever the flubberings that he wants. However, I made a video a few years ago when AEW was becoming a thing going, oh, well, boy, howdy. Now WWE will change their opinion on tag teams because, of course, AEW was always going to feature them, because Matt and Nick Jackson, as far as I'm concerned, are never going to split up, and nor should they. They're one of the best tag teams ever. But no, 24 months on, and here we are in the same position, and just look what we did to the women's tag team division during this draft. We took it and we basically threw it into the sea, because every single one of the teams that we did have got split up, apart from Rhea Ripley and Nikki Ash, and they're the champions, which means they will be the champions until the day that all of us die, because they don't have any other challenges. So I think we should just give them a round of applause. They've absolutely smashed it. The real eyebrow raisers are the fact that Nox and Shotzi are no longer together, which means they never got their tag team championship match. Tamina, what's that nobody Mina, and Natalya were also broken up, and they had just had a championship match. And while the likes of Shayna Baszler and Nia Jax do make sense, it still irks you a little bit, because it means we're never going to pay off that feud. Shayna just killed Nia, and that's that. The fact that we're happy to do this without any rhyme or reason just ties into everything that I'm saying. And if there were actually plans to do something with these individuals after the fact, then I'd be cool with it. But I don't think that's true either. Let's take a look at some evidence, or in this case, Dana Brooke. She just randomly popped back onto Raw the other day, and the commentators absolutely ripped her a new one. But before this, she was teaming up with Mandy Rose, and those two were about to have a tag team championship of their own. And all of a sudden, Mandy Rose was gone. She popped back up on NXT, and Dana Brooke must have fallen into a hole or fallen into the abyss, because we didn't see her for ages. So when she is randomly back and taking on Queen of Spades, and the announce team is going, who the hell is this joke? What are we meant to do, and how the hell are we meant to care? I mean, we literally could have just thrown her in a coffin and it would have been much easier. And if you can believe it, there is more to this. Because if we are to believe the rumor mill, and sometimes there's no smoke without fire, one of the things we were going to do in the draft is break up the Street Profits. I mean, does anybody actually think that this was the time to do that? Now, I can absolutely see a future where both Angelo Dawkins and Montez Ford go on awesome singles runs. But don't just do it because that's what you always do. Survey the situation and go, actually, if we do it now, it's probably going to go bad. And to be fair, this time WWE didn't do it, but it shouldn't even have been a conversation. The real problem with this too is what it does to your titles. Let's just take a quick look at the main event scene when it comes to SmackDown. When Roman Reigns is done with Brock Lesnar, the only real other serious challenger he's going to have is Drew McIntyre. Now, even if you want to prolong that for 6 months, you don't just want to do the same thing over and over and over again, because it's the law of diminishing returns. So wouldn't it be good when you had one of your B pay-per-views, as people say, that you could go, well, why don't we put the tag team titles in the main event position? Because we've built them up to a standard where fans will go, of course that should happen. It's the damn tag team titles. So not only does this protect the other belts that you do have in your arsenal, but it also raises the tag team scene, which in turn raises the people in the tag team scene, which benefits WWE's ultimate goal anyway. Let's go back to the Street Profits. If they'd been the tag team champions, we're all like, oh my gosh, being the tag team champion is so good. Don't know why I turned into Kermit the Frog. When you do decide to push Montez Ford as a single superstar, he will just be so much more believable. I mean, that sounds like a good idea to me, and yet we never do it. Instead, we go the other way. Chad Gable and Otis just randomly became a team, and then Otis went bad guy, and we don't even know. Dolph Ziggler and Bobby Roode became a team, and they were desperate for people to call them the Dirty Dogs so they'd have some kind of identity, and yet nobody ever does. And then there's Cesaro. He was the master of this. He did it with Tyson Kidd, he did it with Sheamus, And once more, they're now just nice memories. And did it benefit the Swiss Superman? No, it didn't. Once again, where the hell has he gone? And you've got Humberto Carrillo, Angel Garza, Mansoor, Mustafa Ali. All of these dudes are super talented, and they try and put some kind of a story together. But when they're only given 2 minutes on TV, what are you supposed to do? Especially now, they got split up as well. And also, right, I tell you, don't even get me started on the Viking Raiders. At one point in time, they were arguably the best tag team on the planet, and now they're blocking corridors so other people can run after the 24/7 championship. I mean, that one really is 2 + 2 = potato. It just seems so counterproductive, especially when you do have people like the New Day on your books. I mean, Xavier Woods and Kofi Kingston should be one of the biggest things you have in the company, but more often than not, they just have to ride the wave. I mean, do you remember that tag team gauntlet we did on Raw a couple of months back when MVP and Bobby Lashley were the new #1 contenders and we were told, oh my gosh, next week we're going to have a tag team title match? If you can believe it, here I stand, and we never ever got it. And sure, that does tie into RK Bro, who have been a huge success story so far, but don't come into my house and pretend that they weren't put together so we can split them up. And this is the exception to the rule. We absolutely should be doing that with Randy Orton and Riddle in order to make them bigger superstars, or at least Riddle when it comes to his singles career. But again, I can present to you, and I believe I have, a bunch of other examples when we went in the other direction. Because we are just doing it across the board. Which does bring us to Mace and T-Bar, which officially ends Retribution. But yeah, one has gone to Raw and one has gone to SmackDown. And I don't understand this one either, because the last time I saw them, they were standing in a dark room on Monday nights going, we are top of the food chain and we are going to eat everybody if they get in our way. Not so much. I guess you could also apply this to the Intercontinental title or the US Championship, but it just doesn't feel like it's in the same ballpark, and it's one of the reasons why the former Revival, now known as FTR, wanted to leave the WWE. They had even been told by Triple H, oh man, we're going to push the tag team division and it's going to be great. And they're like, no you're not. No you're not. We've seen what you've been doing for the last 3 decades. We don't believe you. We're out. So if you do find yourself in that position and you don't want to split up, what else does the future hold? Because I love the fact that teams like Matt and Nick Jackson are never going to break up, because whether it be in kayfabe or whether it be in reality, that's where they shine. Like, I'm not going to start growing my hair in because I know I look like a bald a-hole, so I shave it. I am playing to my strengths, and that's what a bunch of tag teams should be doing too. WWE should be awash with these kind of pairings, but instead when you do go through the past, I mean, they broke up the Legion of Doom and they broke up the Dudley Boys. And surprise, surprise, what happened like 6 or 8 months after that? They just put them back together because they went, oh, duh, we made a mistake. And just think with the lay of the land and how the wrestling business is evolving. You want to take your finger and you want to stick it in as many pies as possible, especially when you do have 12 pay-per-views a year. You don't just have to have the same people main eventing over and over and over again. Build everybody up and build your titles up so you have a flipping choice. Because not only is keeping it fresh so important, but by proxy, you're able to get more people on television. And WWE has a bunch of guys they're struggling to feature. To me, that is the visual equivalent of this. I did it. Furthermore, NXT 2.0 is WWE's big new project at the moment. Well, if you do want to call them up, why don't you call them up in a tag team? Because once again, that's going to protect them as they're learning on the job. I'm not sure why I am so surprised about this. I mean, it's been going on basically ever since the Rockers split up. In fact, that's probably the catalyst for all of it. When Marty Jannetty and Shawn Michaels did say goodbye to one another, or Shawn Michaels kicked Marty Jannetty through the barbershop window, everybody was like, oh my goodness, and we got the Heart Rate Kid out the back of it, so I understand why you'd want to try and recreate this magic. But you can't just do that for every single scenario, because we end up where we end up. It's like now, WWE thinks to make a babyface, you have to beat the shit out of them like Daniel Bryan. No, that worked for him, but it's not going to work for everybody else. And it won't change. Why would it? WWE's also made it very clear at the moment they're a 6'2", 245-pound single-star promotion, and once again, that's their prerogative. I'm going to keep throwing these names out of nowhere. Look at the Iconics. Remember the Iconics? Not only were they split up, but then a few months afterwards, they were let go from the company because Vince McMahon went, well, no, I don't know what to do with them. Then why, my friend, did you make this decision in the first place? It just feels like WWE is in need of a little bit of a shake-up at the moment, and if you can sort of move these pieces and make all of your television shows and all of your pay-per-views feel more important and have some, once again, fresh faces at the top of the card, well, I know that I'm a wrestling nerd, and I know that I would enjoy that, so I'm going to assume other people would as well. And when I go on about the pay-per-views, I don't mean gimmicks, I don't mean Hell in a Cell, I don't mean Elimination Chamber, I don't mean Extreme Rules. Call it whatever the hell you want. Call it Lighthead, right? WWE Lighthead, but then just make sure you shuffle your pack and you continue to shuffle your pack so we never know what's coming. And I will just forget about all of this when I'm done, because there's no point smashing your head against a brick wall when you know you're not going to get through to the other side. But it just seems mad to me that in 2021, WWE is just doing the same shtick. I mean, it would fix a bunch of problems and it would give the audience something else to get excited about. But look, I do want to make it clear, I still enjoy WWE. When I make videos about these, people go, oh my gosh, he's so biased, I didn't want to burn them down. It's just something I noticed from the draft. I do have a little bit of a platform. I wanted to rant over. Now, please do leave a comment below and let us know what you think about all of this. Do you think WWE is focusing on tag teams, or could they do a better job? Then like the video, share the video, and subscribe. Head on over to whatculture.com where you can read articles like this with your eyes. Make sure you come follow us on social media, and we have other videos on the channel. Watch everyone. My name is Simon for What Culture. Thank you for watching the Y series, and honestly, when it comes to the names, we could actually do this until the end of time. It is really rare to find a tag team within World Wrestling Entertainment that wasn't put together in order for them to get split up. And that to me is just crazy. It's why the New Day have such a good job, but even then, Big E gets moved away from Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods, but you just know in their heart of hearts, they will always be together. And I know for certain there have been pitches to those guys to have them turn on each other. I've seen it 1,000 times. I don't need to see it 1,001. I will see you soon.